Hi Cancer, welcome to September. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And let's see what's happening this month. We have Venus moving into Mercury on September 6th from Leo. Then we have a full moon in Pisces on September 10th, and that's favorable to your sign. Just after the full moon, Mercury goes retrograde in Libra, and it will be moving back into Virgo on the 25th. And then we have the new moon in Libra on the 25th. So we'll get into that later. Let's see what the stars have to say, what the cards have to say for Cancer. What does Cancer need to know about September? And we have Mercury going retrograde, so it's a good time to go back to the past, a past project, a past love, past friendship, and revisit the past and see how you can redo something and make it better. Mercury retrograde is not something to be feared. It can be a great time to just slow down and let's, recalculate. So I'll let you know. We'll see when we get into the astrology what area of your life we'll be looking at. So what does Cancer need to know about love and relationships for the month of September? What is happening in September for Cancer? September 2022. What does Cancer need to know for September 2022? Okay. Let's see. The Hangman. The Strength card. The Star. The Seven of Pentacles. The Page of Cups. The Wheel of Fortune. The Ten of Wands. The Eight of Swords. The Death card. The Nine of Swords. You have a lot of worries, huh? And then the Lovers is, you have a lot of major arcana in this reading, so this is a powerful month. Okay, so we've got the Hangman crossed by the Strength card. This is the present energy. The Hangman is about giving something up for something better. It's also a card of feeling like you're in limbo. It's a card of having to have patience. So you may feel like nothing's happening in your life, like nothing's moving. And you might be thinking, maybe you're like on the fence about, you're afraid to move out of something. Because the Hangman is like, you're not totally unhappy with your current situation. But you know that if you moved on to something else, it could be better. But you have the Strength card crossing it. You could be dealing with someone who has anger issues. The Strength card is about controlling the beast within, controlling that wild side that we all have. Controlling your emotions, learning how not to overreact to things when someone pushes your buttons. Learning how to get your needs met without having to rage about it. So this could be you or it could be your partner. Either you're like, if you're the person who's raging, it's like no one can, like you're feeling unheard, so you have to get really angry before you could speak, and then you're screaming like, okay, but I need this. Or it could be your partner. You could be dealing with someone who has anger issues and learning how to control their anger, learning how to control their emotions, not going to extremes of emotion. Don't let anyone push your buttons so that you then overreact, and then the person turns around and says, see, look, you're crazy. Look at you. But you, in a relationship, if this is a person, you could be dealing with someone who's a little difficult, who has very strong emotions, who's overreactive. And so counseling could really help in a situation. So if you're dealing with someone, they could probably use some counseling, and that would help the relationship, so that if it's either you or the other person, learning how to express your anger and learning how to get your needs met in a calmer way without going to extremes of emotion. without blowing up in anger, where you just sit down and go, hey, this is what I need, this is what I'd like to see happen, and not having to rage, not having to, because that kind of goes back to childhood, where you have like a temper tantrum, because maybe when you were a kid, no one listened to you, or your parents, you couldn't speak up, you couldn't ask what you needed until you had like this come apart. And so you might be using that same energy in the adult life, and you need to look at that. In the past, though, you have the Star. The Star is a great card. It's a card of wishes fulfilled, hopes and dreams. Like, you have this dream of a relationship, and for the most part, you have achieved it in the past, because this is a past energy. But I feel like there could be some, maybe you've met someone and you're not sure where it's going, or because you have the Seven of Pentacles here, you've planted some seeds. But I feel like there's someone important in your life. The Lovers is here. This is a strong connection. Could be a soulmate connection, or the potential for one. But you're not sure, like you have to make a decision. I feel like there's a decision that has to be made about this relationship. Maybe you've been, somebody has to express how they feel. Because I'm seeing the Page of Cups here. This is a card. It could be a child. So there could be some issues around children that are interfering in a relationship. But it could also mean a message of love. So either you're going to be receiving a message of love, or maybe you need to be the one, since this is a water of the cups. Maybe it's you who needs to express your love to someone. And that could totally turn the situation around. Because the Wheel of Fortune is here. The Wheel of Fortune, like whatever you're going through, it's like 1 minute you're up, next minute you're down. That's life. Life is never, you never like get to a place and you stay there forever. It's always, so if you're having good times, it's great. At some point they're going to end. If you're having bad times, don't worry that it's going to be forever. It's not. It's going to change. That's life. It's like a series of hills and valleys. So wherever you're at, things are going to be changing in the near future. And you have the Ten of Wands, so I feel like they're going to be changing for the better. Because the Ten of Wands means carrying a heavy burden, feeling like you're overworked. Maybe you've been working really hard, you haven't had time to give to a relationship. But I feel like you're coming to the end of a struggle where you can put that burden down and focus on what's important to you. Focus on the Star, focus on the Lovers. In your environment, you have the Eight of Swords. This is a card of someone who feels trapped, who's afraid to move out of a situation. Maybe you're staying with someone because you feel you can't leave, or maybe that person feels that way. They're afraid to move out of a situation. But really, you're not, because the Eight of Swords, there are no swords blocking this person. They can just walk away if they want. But fear is keeping them in this prison. You're imprisoned by your own fear. So maybe time to release something so that you could be free to make changes in your life. You have the Death card here in your wish fulfillment. So the Death card is about, like, you're going through some type of transformation. It's not death, like physical death, but it is the death of a way of life. So something could be ending that's been causing you a lot of grief, or you've been like feeling overwhelmed. But it's opening up energy. It's like the death, it's like clearing out the old, it's making room for the new. So one way of life might be ending, and a new way of life is on, it's not really there yet. So you're kind of like right now in this transition period between the old and the new. Like, something has ended, because the death usually means some kind of ending has happened. And now you're probably contemplating, okay, what's next? But you haven't really removed yourself from the past. So the Death card is saying you have to release the past, clear out the old to make room for the new. Because if you have like a room that's full of junk, you can't put anything more in there because there's no room. So you have like a refrigerator, you have all that stuff, and you come home from the grocery store like, oh, this refrigerator is packed. Where am I going to put all this stuff? You got to clear some stuff out. So you go in, you throw out all your leftovers that you haven't touched in 2 weeks. But it's the same thing with relationships and in life. If you're still attached to the past, you're blocking the new from manifesting. So the death is like, it's like going from winter to spring. You have to clear out the old, clear out the dead wood, the leaves, the old vines, and start planting some new seeds and make room for this new growth. I think a part of you is a little afraid of it because, I see these fear cards. You need to move on, but you're struggling either emotionally with letting go or indecisive, like trying to make a decision. You have this Nine of Swords energy as the outcome. Now, the good thing is, that part is ending, but the Nine of Swords is a worry card. Like you're thinking of the future. Well, what if I leave this relationship? Let's say you're in a relationship. If I leave this relationship, what's going to come next? What if I can't meet anyone else? Or what if I'm in a worse situation after I leave than I was in the past, Or if you don't have a relationship, you just have a lot of worry and guilt and all kinds of crazy emotions, imagining all these worst case scenarios. A lot of times with the Nine of Swords energy, what you imagine is not going to happen. So stop worrying. That's number one. Stop worrying about things that haven't happened yet. And focus, instead of worrying about what could go wrong, focus on what could go right. Think about find the star. This is the star of hope and dreams. What can go right? It's not about what could go wrong. It's about what could go right. So start thinking about, how can I make my life better? How can I make my relationship better? So for some of you who need to walk away from a relationship, focus on, there is love for me in the future. I'll meet someone that's a better match. Or if it's a current relationship and you want to save it, how can I communicate my love and try to fix this thing? Maybe we need counseling. Maybe I need to work on my anger issues. Maybe they need to work on their anger issues. Maybe we need to learn how to ask for what we need in the relationship in a calm way. Maybe we need conflict resolution training. Those are all the things. Because whatever if you're in a relationship, the lover this is someone very important to you. And your life would be it's like, I don't know if my life would be the same without this person, so you may want to save the relationship. If you don't have a relationship at all, then you might be stuck on a past relationship that was once good, but it's no longer there. You have to accept the reality of the ending and say, well, what can I create now from here going forward? What do I need to, can I let new love come into my life? There's the potential with this Page of Cups for new love. But you have to be ready for it. You have to, you have to prepare the ground for it. You have to clear out the old. That doesn't mean forgetting the past. It just means blessing it, realizing, okay, it was a special time for me, but now I'm moving on to something else. Now it's time for me to move on to something else. And you don't have to rush. The Hangman is about having patience. So take your time, one day at a time. You don't have to rush into anything. But do it slowly, little by little, try to clear out the past. Try not to focus on the past. Focus on the future and what you want to create. And you will attract love. And that's pretty much the message of these cards. And make time for it. If it's all work and no play, that's not good either. You have to have that work-life balance. So let's see what the angels have to say for Cancer. What does Cancer need to know? Patience. This is what I was saying. Patience. Okay. Patience is required at the moment. You may feel that things are not moving as fast as you would like, yet there's a lot going on energetically. The current situation causing concern is evolving positively. Let go and have patience. You will eventually realize that this whole event was in fact a blessing. All is perfect as it is. Trust. You are eternally loved and guided. So there you have it. Just Slow changes, be patient, things are changing. Don't let fear hold you back. Okay, let's see what the astrology has to say for you. So we have this full moon in the 9th house. So the sun is in the 3rd house, the moon is in the 9th house conjunct Neptune, and it's squaring Mars in your 12th house. So this is your communication sector. So something is going to be revealed. The full moon in the 9th, you could be finishing up some kind of project that has to do with education, because it's higher education, teaching, learning. If you've gone back to school, maybe you're graduating or you finished some kind of program. It could also be a card of travel. You're coming back from a journey or you're planning a trip. It could also be about teaching. Maybe you're thinking about teaching something. Or it could be about your belief systems. You're having some kind of spiritual awakening. And because the moon in Neptune is very spiritual, very intuitive. So you could be having intuition, flashes of insight. You're downloading information. You're having like an awakening. And maybe you want to communicate what you're feeling. Maybe you're getting some kind of psychic flashes and you want to talk to people, tell them about it. It also can involve your family, your relatives, because the 3rd house is aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, close friends. Something is completing, something's being revealed at this time. It's squaring Mars in the 12th house. So Mars in the 12th house has to do with anger, repressed anger. So there could be something that you're angry with or you're angry about and you're not expressing it. And when you don't express your anger, you know what happens? You wind up feeling depressed and frustrated. So unexpressed anger leads to depression, especially in the 12th house. So you have to communicate. You have to speak. If there's something that's bothering you, you have to speak up about it. Not in a confrontational way, but in a way where you can express yourself, where you're being heard, where you feel like people are listening. So don't hold in your anger. Don't hold in your frustrations. This is a great time to communicate how you're feeling. You have Uranus now is in your 11th house, and it's conjunct the North Node, and it is sextile the moon, and it's trining the sun. So you have positive energy. So there could be some unexpected development in your 11th house. That's the house of friendship. Maybe you make a new friend, or you meet someone that provides a special insight, or you're joining a group that brings a special kind of insight to you. You might be getting involved with groups that are trying to help the world in some way, some kind of spiritual group. And you're realizing, hey, this is something I really want to get involved in. And that's going to help you. It's going to give you like this new energy, this fresh energy that will help you release yourself from whatever's been bothering you or holding you back, especially when it comes, because you have Saturn in the 8th house. That has to do with intimacy, inheritance, taxes, debt, your partner's money. So maybe you've been, like your expenses have been up while Saturn's in the 8th house, or that you feel like things are blocked, you're not getting the financial support you need. But I feel like this new group that you're belonging, that you're breaking free from, it's going to help you to solve that issue. So there could be some new development that you get involved in, something unconventional, something scientific, technical even. That's going to help you to break free from debt in some way. You have Mercury now is in Libra, okay, in your 4th house, and it's trining Mars in the 12th house. So it's really a great time to communicate with your family, to have some kind of psychological breakthrough. If you're, to maybe heal old wounds. If you've been, if you need to communicate with your family, if there's some anger issues, something that you've been keeping to yourself, it's time to talk about it and release it. And compromise. Libra is about peace, creating peace, creating compromise, learning how to see things from both sides. It's a diplomacy. Mercury will retrograde back into Virgo around the new moon. So right now you're just seeing what needs to be done. And as Mercury retrogrades, it's a good time to go back and to revisit areas and try to make them better. Like you get a second chance with Mercury. It's like, okay, let's try this again. Maybe it'll work this time. And it's involving communication. So when Mercury moves into your third house, it's about communicating with relatives. You might connect with friends and relatives that you haven't seen in a long time. Open up the, lines of communication. And you could have some healing. Venus is right now in your third house. So it's a good time to, with Venus brings harmony. So if you wanted to reconnect with brothers, sisters, or resolve any conflicts, now's a good time to do it, to talk. And you'll find that people are more agreeable. There'll be less conflict this time around. You have Jupiter in your 10th house, so your career's on fire. Jupiter's bringing luck and opportunity. Mercury's in your 4th house, so there could be some, family, like there's a lot going on at work. You may not have time for family. You have to have that balance. So it's telling you, Mercury opposite Jupiter is, don't go over the top with anything. Jupiter can be, don't go into excess. Don't take on more than you can handle. And maybe you need to communicate. Maybe you're doing too much for your family and it's interfering with your job. Or maybe you need to communicate, like I can do something, I can help you, but I can only do so much. So know what your limits are. But Jupiter's bringing opportunity. Venus is squaring Mars, so that's like it's kind of like a desire sign. Maybe you have some issues to work out around intimacy too. And Mars is sextile Chiron. Let's see, where is Chiron in your chart? In Aries. It's in your 10th house. So you have some healing to do around your career path, around being seen in the public. Maybe you've always been a behind-the-scenes kind of person. Maybe now your career is putting you up front and out there, and you're not feeling comfortable with that. Maybe you were like a private person, and now you're being forced to be more public. So you have to get comfortable with that. But Mars in Gemini, it's a great time. Mars is going to be in Gemini for a long time. It's going to be for 7 months. So, and it's going to be in your 12th house. So it's a great time to really get at those things that have, tackle any psychological issues that have been bugging you, like you've been keeping things to yourself. Dealing with anger, dealing with resentment, dealing with anything that's been holding you back psychologically. If you can work on that, and it will help your relationships with your family, with your relatives, even in your career, because you're going to be like a new person when Mars moves into Cancer, and that will be next spring. As it moves out of Gemini, when it goes direct, it'll go direct in January, the end of January, and then up until March, then it'll move into Cancer. So do all the psychological work now. It's a perfect time to take time out to do some healing, to do some psychological work, to release that baggage, release that anger, learn how to deal with anger, learn how to speak up, get your needs met. Because when Mars moves into Cancer, you're going to be you can hit the ground running, and you can have all this energy. When Mars is in the 12th house, you may feel tired, like I don't have the energy to do this or that. So, because there are things that are draining you psychologically, and you need to learn how to, set boundaries. So then we have this new moon in Libra, and the new moon in Libra is in your 4th house. It could bring a new beginning with home and family. I feel like it's a powerful time in relationships too, because this new moon, before it becomes new in Libra, it's going to be in Cancer, in your sign, and it's going to conjunct Virgo, I'm sorry. It's going to be in Virgo in your 3rd house, and it's going to conjunct Mercury and Venus. It's going to trine Pluto in Capricorn in your 7th house. So those are the 3rd house is communication, 7th house is partnerships. Then it moves into the 4th house. I feel like if you could do the communication thing, if you could open up lines of communication with family and partnerships, it can lead to a new beginning with this new moon. A new beginning, a greater harmony in your home and in your family. And you could have some real healing and powerful, you could be forming powerful connections. Deep, but you have to go deep. You know, Pluto in your 7th house, you can't just skim the surface of issues. You have to go deep. You have to talk about things that might be painful, but will also be cathartic, so that you can release that pain and you could be transformed by it. And you could create a new beginning that's going to bring a lot of joy and love to your life. So this is a powerful time. You have this powerful new beginning. It may be uncomfortable because Libra is square to Cancer. So it brings you out of your comfort zone. But if you could have the courage to overcome that and to do things that may feel a little bit weird at first, it will leave you with feeling empowered in the end. And you could have a major breakthrough because, first of all, Libra is a cardinal sign. So this new moon is hitting your cardinal point, your home. It's going to be very powerful for a new beginning. You could really make some improvements in home and family issues with this new moon. But you're going to have to compromise with Libra. You can't have it all your way. It's going to be like, okay, let's see where we can meet in the middle. Let's see we could create diplomacy, harmony, where both our needs get met. And I think you can do it, Cancer. Just don't let fear hold you back. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and share your love. And don't let go of resentment and anger. Don't hold on to that. Because that's like taking poison and wishing somebody else is going to die. You know, if you're angry at somebody, you have to release your anger because it's toxic. And the way you do that is communication. Communicate. Release it, heal it, and send it on its way. And have a new beginning. So that's my forecast, Cancer, for September. If you like this reading, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what's going on in your life if this resonated with you. If you'd like a private reading, click on the link in the description box. It'll take you to my website, and we can get you on the schedule for reading. In the meantime, thank you for supporting this channel. If you're new, welcome. And I hope you have a wonderful September, and I'll talk to you again next month. Okay, bye now.